What is a seemingly mundane question you can ask somebody that will tell you a lot about their personality? What's the last thing you did for the first time? Well, now I'm having an existential crisis because I can't think of anything. First Christmas since I was born that I didn't spend with my parents. One of my standard job interview questions is, tell me about something you like doing that you're good at. I don't really care what the answer is. I just want to see passion, effort, and creativity. Well, I got things I like to do, but I'm not good at any of them. I like to return shopping carts to their corral. My father-in-law went on a job interview about 10 years ago and absolutely nailed the interview. As he was being shown around the office, a high-level person in that company who normally wasn't there just happened to be there that day. After they were introduced, he asked my F-file what kind of animal he would be. My F-file said he panicked and picked bear. He's a bigger guy. And the other guy said something along the lines of, that's a little too aggressive, maybe this isn't the job for you. So he didn't get the job, but I guess it worked out because he's got a pretty good job now, and if I was him I wouldn't want to work for someone who hires people based on what animal they think they would be. The guy should have asked the follow-up question, why did you choose the bear? 'Cause a bear is not always associated with an aggressive animal, but can also be associated with a tough-looking guy who really loves cuddles and is a sweetheart. The explanation says more about a person than a one-worded answer. This actually applies to a lot of answers. I bet the asker picked bear himself, and didn't want two bears in the same office. What would you do if you won the lottery? For me, it's a non-invasive way of listening to people's attitudes on finance in general, and also how they feel about the rich. First things first, I'm going to get a financial advisor. I'd have no idea what to do with that much money, and I don't want to end up a mess. Same here. My first thought about winning the lottery is, how do you go about finding a reliable financial advisor when you've just won the lottery and everybody is suddenly offering financial advice to you? Yes, this is a brilliant question. When I was newly dating my ex-boyfriend, it was around the time Super Lotto hit $1 billion a couple years ago. We were both in lottery ticket pools and discussed what we'd do if we won. His answer mortified me. It included how, if he were married, he'd divorce his wife and travel the world on a yacht doing drugs surrounded by hot women. Big red flag for me. Do you put the cart back when you're done shopping? I put my cart away. But seriously, whether someone puts their carts back really shows you what they think about rules, social norms, and whether they will follow them when someone isn't looking or judging them. It's really interesting, and it's called the shopping cart theory. Is this a real theory? Yes, it's probably as close and the safest way to observe a lawless world where people are entrusted to make good decisions on their own. There is no penalty in not putting the cart back, and there is no upside to returning it. It shows a lot about a person's morals on if they are willing to do the right thing for nothing in return. It's not a single question, but by the second or third date with a guy I would ask him to go bowling. As it turns out, there's many ways to play the game. Do they take it too seriously and get competitive or angry if they don't do well? Does he act disinterested or bored of the game? Do they try to teach me how to play, or do they just try to be goofy, have fun with it? Do they order 2 pitchers of beer and get totally smashed? In my opinion, you can learn a lot about a person by the way they approach bowling. What book would you like to live in? This is a tough one for those of us who like dystopia and historical fiction. Yup. I literally just thought to myself, well, all the books I read are nightmares, do I pick the least terrible? Got this one in an interview once. How do you go about eating a muffin? Learned a lot about muffin anatomy that day. It was a bakery after all. I've shared this before, but I feel it's pretty relevant and a great way to find out more about a person. Years ago, I went out on a first date with this girl I met online. I thought she was very attractive, and we had so much common that I thought she was perfect. In addition to that, we seemed to hit off well through texts, so I figured this date would go well. We're at this bar, and she suggests we play a people-watching game where we try to make up backstories for the other people there. I thought it sounded fun, especially since I played a similar game with friends on the trains sometimes. Plus, it felt like a good icebreaker to get us talking. Well, she managed to take all the fun out the game by being ridiculously cruel in all her assumptions for no real reason at all. It felt like she was projecting issues she had onto these people. Like one guy was sitting at the bar alone, could have been waiting for someone, you never know. But because he was alone, he was a fucking loser with no friends that hates his life. I tried to steer the game back to a more light-hearted mood, but she was set on being mean. Completely killed the mood, and after that I lost all interest in her. I just couldn't see myself going on a second date with someone like that, even if she checked all other boxes. However, I did learn that it's a dumb and usually fun game you can use that will really tell you a lot about a person and how well you get along with them. I am like the most boring person to play this game with. Everyone is a spy. All of them. Backstories differ, but they're all spies. Every last one. In a job interview, ask your prospective supervisor how much vacation time and sick days they took last year. This is great because both extremes take pride in their answer, and so will answer honestly. The no-low vacation boss is proud of how hard she or he works, but really it's bad if they don't take time off. They're coming in when they're sick, they're not recharging by taking vacation, and the expectation, even if unstated, is that their staff should follow that example. You'll feel guilty every time you call in sick or take vacation time. You want the boss who says, "I always take my vacation time and encourage my staff to as well. I called in a couple times last year when I came down with a cold." Good boss. Have you ever had a negative reaction when you asked this? I can see a scenario where the prospective supervisor is a little private about this. Could it be seen as too personal of a question to ask? I'm not playing devil's advocate or advocating to not ask. I'm actually curious as someone who's hoping to be interviewing for positions in the near future. If you want to play it safe, you can ask how many days a year on average the employees here take off. Yeah, I feel like some jerk bosses would think you're already planning on being lazy just by asking that. I guess that means you shouldn't work there, but sometimes you don't really have too many options if you really need a job. Fave question I heard in an interview: what would you do if you came home and found a penguin in your freezer? It ends up not only being an icebreaker, but a good personality tell. Is the penguin dead or alive? African penguin or European penguin? I had a TA ask me in a get-to-know-you activity what my vision was for a perfect world, and I said round. That would have been awkward if your TA was a flat earther. Ask them what they like to cook for breakfast. Does coffee count as cooking breakfast? Asking for a friend. A vanilla soy latte is technically a 3-bean soup. If this isn't a brilliant shower thought, then I don't know what is. Does Mike Wazowski blink or wink? Depends on how he's holding his mouth. You are truly one of the great thinkers of our time. What superpower they want? I love this question because this girl I knew in college had just the best answer. She said, the power to fill things, and after I looked at her kind of funny, she said, you know, like filling my bank account with money, filling my belly with spaghetti, or filling my enemies' bladders with urine. I know there are more powerful powers that could get me wealth or whatever, but man, teleportation would be dope. Can travel the world but always sleep in your own bed and never need to book a flight. Never need to use a public restroom. Easily visit family. Only take road trips if I want. Can live and work anywhere. The rest of life could be normal, but it'd be great. The ability to change probability. You could theoretically control anything. What's the probability I'll ace this test? Make it 100%. What's the probability of me winning the lottery? 100%. In the long run, success only matters if there was a possibility of failure. You'd eventually start forcing bad outcomes just to feel something again. And now you're a supervillain. What are you having for dinner tonight? It's really cool to hear about what people like, what their culture is like, because food is a huge part of that, and generally just how they live. Expensive or cheap? Quick or elaborate? Adventurous or safe? As a kid, what was your go-to selection from the ice cream truck? Disappointment because we were too poor to get ice cream from the truck. If dogs wore pants, would they wear them on all 4 legs, or just the back legs? Their favorite color. In so many ways, if they tell you without hesitating, it means they must have probably thought about it before, and it must be a color they really like, that makes them feel at home or makes them happy. Whenever I meet someone and they tell me their favorite color, it becomes a part of them to me. It's not that I haven't thought about it, but it's that I think it's a ridiculous concept. I don't have a favorite color. Some colors look good on me. Some colors look good in a room. Sometimes I want an object to be one color. The idea I'd prefer everything to be a color seems preposterous. I answered the question with all of my favorite colors. My favorite color when playing a game is red. My favorite color to wear is black, but my favorite color to look at on me is purple. Slight difference between what I prefer to wear and what I think looks good. My favorite color on my wife is gray. My favorite color to look at is a turquoise blue. My favorite color to say out loud is fuchsia. My favorite color to say is my favorite color when asked is maize, because as someone living in Michigan it communicates more than just a color. Interestingly, my favorite drink also has many different answers. Sir, the interview ended an hour ago and we need the meeting room. When I interview people, I always ask them what their favorite type of crisps, chips to you across the water, are. It's a throwaway question that's just designed to help them relax a little. But over the years I've noticed that people who give me a very classic brand flavor are very steady workers. Those that tell me they like a newer brand flavor have been generally less reliable and prone to distraction. Yes, I know this isn't a thing. Obviously, it's not a hard and fast rule. It's just an observation I've made over the years. It's literally an icebreaker question I use to help put people at ease if they're nervous. I don't use it to make hiring decisions because I know it's not a practical or useful way to hire. Asking about why something ended. Be it a past job or a relationship, you learn a lot pretty quickly about someone. Ick about this one. Assholes usually twist the story to make them look like the victim and leave out their mistakes. My girlfriend's dad always uses one interview question that makes or breaks a possible hire. Why are manhole covers round? The goal isn't to know the answer, it's to show that you are willing to critically think about a problem before you say you need help. Saving this thread for my next human interaction. I foresee much less awkward silence. Wish me luck. What simple question can tell you a lot about a person? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.